Well, the hatch is done, so let's go take a look at the results. Hey guys, welcome back to another Slightly Rednecked video. Again, my name's Chris. If you're new to this channel, I help you to produce your own meat, eggs, and vegetables from your backyard, your balcony, your deck, your garage, or even a spare room in your house if that's the way you want to do it. And we are standing inside my garage today. We're going to check out the newest hatch here. I've got meat maker chicks over here. I've got Pharao chicks over here. Not a huge difference between them right now. It's really hard to tell the difference, but if you've been following my channel, you know these are the hatch from the eggs that were sent to me by Kansas City Quail Farms. One of my viewers gifted me, I don't know who it was, but they gifted me with an order of eggs, 120 eggs from Kansas City Quail Farms, half meat maker, half Pharao. So I'm going to show you the results of that hatch right now. If you see me turning a little bit weird, I got a little bit of a pulled muscle on my shoulder here, so I can't hardly look behind me. I have to turn my whole body. So that's why I may look a little bit awkward today, but it's okay. I'll get over it. So anyway, these are the meat maker chicks over here, and let me bring you in a little bit close. We'll take a look at them. All right, so you can see a bunch of little quail chicks running around in there. These guys are, I don't know, 4 or 5 days old, something like that. Some of them look a little bit scrawny right now. You may notice some of them are fluffy and some of them kind of look a little bit just, like I said, kind of scrawny and wiry. I'll explain why here in just a minute. Let me get the camera back over there. Sorry, I can't look and talk at the same time, apparently. But for the most part, they're all doing pretty well now. And here are the Pharao chicks. Like I said, not a huge difference between the two. They're about the same age. Let me get this camera over here so you can see, hopefully. About the same age, but they do look a little bit better right now. They're a little bit fluffier, look a little bit dried out, a little bit bulkier right now. Again, I'll explain why here in just 1 second. All right, so like I said, not a big difference between the meat makers and the Pharaohs. You may have noticed that the Pharaohs, again, look kind of scrawny right now. Some of them look nice and fluffy and some of them don't. Well, I had a little bit of a problem that I ran into when I first brought these out here. The bulk of them hatched right on time. It was day 16, I think it was. Day 16, 17. Had a whole bunch of them hatch out. And then, I waited the 48 hours. I took them out when they were all dry. I added some more water to the incubator to get the humidity back up because it was pretty much dry at that point. And I had more birds hatch out the next day. And I went through that process. It was about 4 or 5 days. Over the course of about 5 days, take the birds out, put in some water, move the birds to the brooder box. So it took about 5 days for them all to hatch out. So that's why some of them look a little bit smaller than others. They're just because they pretty much double in size every day for the first week. But some of these are just a couple of days younger than the rest of them. So that's why they look a little bit smaller right now. But the biggest reason that some of these they look kind of scrawny, they don't look fluffed up like the rest of them, is because when I brought the first batch out to the brooder box, had it all set up, and I had my water setting over to the side of the brooder box instead of in the middle like it is now. And one of them apparently had gotten on the paper towels, the edge of it, knocked it over, and a corner of that paper towel was down inside the little trough there where the water goes out, and it had siphoned out all the water out of that water, soaked all the paper towels, soaked all the birds. They were all soaking wet, and I lost 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 birds. I don't know how many it was exactly. I didn't really keep track of it, but I lost several birds because they had gotten wet and gotten chilled and couldn't get warm. So luckily I didn't lose them all. The rest of them are recovering just fine, but they didn't fluff back up like I would expect them to. So as they start feathering out, losing their baby feathers, getting their adult feathers in, you won't be able to tell the difference. So it's not that big of a deal now. They're doing just fine. All right, so how were the results overall? Well, like I said, I lost several birds during the incident with the water. I lost a couple of the Pharaohs. I had, I think, 2 of them that had splayed legs. Lost those 2. But other than that, the rest of the birds doing just fine. The hatch itself was pretty good. I've got somewhere around, let's see, I can't remember exactly how many. I think 45, 46 Pharaohs in here, and somewhere around 36 meat makers in here. So when you count the birds that didn't hatch, well, it's easier just to count the eggs that didn't hatch than it is to try to count the birds that did hatch. So started with 120 eggs, and I had, let's see, 14, 25, 26 eggs that did not hatch. A lot of the meat makers that were a little bit slower to hatch, and they had pipped but not completely gotten out of the shell. That's probably because I had to open the incubator to get birds out. And they just weren't completely hatched at that point, even though I added water to get the humidity back up. That they were still not, they didn't really, they just didn't recover from that. They didn't hatch out for whatever reason. So 26 total eggs. It was almost evenly split between the Pharaohs and the meat makers. Meat makers had 14, the Pharaohs had 12 eggs that didn't hatch. So you take that math, let's see, I can't do that math in my head. What does that leave me with out of 120? That leaves me with 94 4 eggs that hatched, and that is a, what is that? That's pretty close to an 80% hatch rate, so that's pretty good. Let me get my phone out here. We'll do some math real quick and see if my math is right. Let's see, 94 birds, 78% hatch rate. So, you know, again, not the absolute best rate I've ever gotten out of eggs, but not bad at all. I'm pretty happy with the 78% hatch rate, especially on eggs that had to go through the mail. And you got to remember, a couple of those eggs, I broke 2 of them getting them out, so you can't really blame that on anything but me, my clumsiness. And then I did have to discard a few at lockdown, but not that many. So all in all, pretty good results. Bottom line, I've got plenty of birds now. They should all make it. They should all do just fine from this point on. I'm going to have to clean out some grow-out pens out there for them and get them out in the grow-out pens in a couple of weeks, but plenty of them here. I'll get plenty of fertile eggs, be able to hatch out some more and grow that flock even more if I want to. So anyway, whoever it was that purchased those eggs, thanks again. I appreciate that. It was a very kind gesture of you. I ended up with some great birds from that, and I'm looking forward to seeing how these grow. I'll bring you guys back whenever they get a little bit older and they get a little bit bigger, and we can kind of do some more in-depth comparisons between the meat makers and the Pharaohs. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. As always, God bless.